Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to EduTap. So, guys, as promised earlier, we're back with another session for NABARD Grade A, Phase 2, Descriptive English, and today we will be learning about letter writing. So, we will be learning about letter writing, and it is going to, prove very beneficial for your preparation and for your strategy in the upcoming NABARD Grade A exam. So guys, if you can see me and if you can hear me, if you can see the screen clearly, just give me a confirmation. Just type yes in the chat box so that I get to know that that everything is clear to everyone. And in the meantime, let me discuss with you the important highlights. And before we begin the session, guys, I would like to inform you about the one-time sale, and we are offering flat 48% off on all our courses, combo courses for RBI Grade B, for NABARD Grade A, for SEBI, and for PFRD as well. So this is only a one-time sale which is valid on 2 days, 29th and 30th September. That is tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And if you want to avail yourself of this opportunity, you can use this coupon code, that is capital one time. And if you're preparing for any of these exams or thinking of preparing for any of these exams, I think there could not be a better time for that. Right. So let's begin, guys. First of all, we will understand, the basics of the subject of the topic, and then we will pick up the essential key points, right? So first of all, I wanted to discuss with you the notification that was given in the in your actual notification by NABARD. So for this was the syllabus for English. So first it said there will be 3 questions on computer based typing. So one is essay, second is Pressy writing, third is comprehension and business office correspondence. So business and office correspondence, that includes letter writing or report writing. So we will be covering both. Today we will be covering letter writing, and tomorrow we will cover report writing. So this is basically to basically assess your expression and understanding of the topic. So basically it's about your preparation and all that we discussed, right? So today we will be discussing letter writing, tomorrow we will be discussing report writing, and after that we will be taking up Pressy writing, right? So that would be our schedule for the next couple of days. All right, thank you, Pankaj. I think we are ready. So let's begin, guys. First of all, you need see we have all written letters when we were in school. Maybe it was a a leave letter, or probably an apology letter, or a request letter, or an invitation letter, and we were given different scenarios. But this is this is not just a letter. So see, they have not specifically mentioned letter anywhere. And what they have written is business slash office correspondence. So business slash office correspondence is either a report or a letter, right? I think other than that, memos are not formal for sort of communication. So memo is also, memos are basically also included into your reports, or your sort of letter format. So what we have observed in the past is letter and report. See, report has never been asked, but nonetheless we will still cover it. There may be a chance then informal messages. So that's why they are called formal type of communication, right? So make sure that you do not at any cost you do not confuse it with anything else. So see, formal letter writing is very, very crucial, and there are certain key points that you need to remember, right, when you are understanding or when you are framing a letter. So letters are a form of verbal and written communication which contains important information or a message that is sent by one party to another to convey the message. And a letter is written to provide or request certain important information. A formal letter is written for business or professional purposes with a specific objective in mind. So that needs to be taken care of. That is what you need to understand. Right. So see, a letter is written to convey a message, to either provide some information or to request some information. And specifically, a formal letter is written for business or professional purposes with a specific objective in mind. So it is written to the point, it is written in a very formal type of formal type of way, and the communication is very formal, right? So that is what we have seen in the previous year questions, and we will be discussing that today as well, right? Yes, guys. So are you able to see and are you able to view the screen properly? I hope you are. Right. So this was the basic definition and basic understanding of letter writing. So let's begin. Let's go ahead, guys. So what we would be discussing in today's session, first of all, types of letters that may be asked to you to write in the exam. Then second is format of the letters. So, how to format, how to structure those letters, and then we will discuss some less sample. Formal, informal is not required for this paper, so we'll only be discussing formal here. Right, so that is your, that is the agenda for today's session. So let's first of all understand the types of letters that may be asked, that may be asked in the exam. So you can segregate different types of letters into these 6 categories. First is complaint letters, where you will be asked to write a complaint regarding your, I'll just give you a simple scenario, maybe regarding the poor facilities of poor sanitation in your area, maybe potholes, or proper improper drainage system, or probably the havoc of probably malaria or dengue during the rainy season, or something like that. So probably complaint regarding some particular action, or some particular something that is going on at the moment around you. So first category is complaint letters. Second category is, guys, inquiry letters. So what are inquiry letters? In inquiry letters, you are basically supposed to write a letter where you will be inquiring about something, right? Inquiring a process, or inquiring something, like if I want to inquire the process of enrollment into a particular scheme, or enrollment under a particular an opportunity provided by an organization, so that is called inquiry. So where you inquire about something, right? Or you inquire about the norms and the requirements of a certain particular issue. So that is called your inquiry letters. Third is business development letters, where you will be you're supposed to write letters from one organization to another organization for purpose of the business development. So that is called business development letters. Next is information and query letters. So in information and query letters, you basically either request some information, or you have a query, right, which you will be putting forth. So any information or query letter, that is another category. Then claim letters, where you are requested to write a letter to claim certain insured amount, or whatever insurance scheme that you may have availed. So you may be asked to write a claim letter. And last but not the least, request letters, where you will be requesting someone for something particular. For example, you've lost your credit card or debit card, and you are writing to the bank to issue you another debit card, right? Or maybe if you've changed your address and you're moving somewhere, so they will asking you to, or you'll be asking the organization to request something. So these are the different types of letters that may be asked of you in the exam. So, and you must prepare for at least these 5-6 scenarios, guys. And why am I saying this? Because this is what has been observed in the past, that these are the types of letters that are asked in the previous year exams. So I'm just taking it up as I've observed, and this will definitely help you to understand what sort of letter you may be asked in the exam. So these are the 6 types of letters that you may be asked: complaint letters, inquiry letters, business development letters, information or query letters, claim letters, or request letters. So these are the letters that you should be preparing for. What I mean by you should be preparing for, you should practice certain scenarios, and you should have a certain opening and a closing line for these different types of letters, so that you do not have to sit there and think, what should I write? Right, I'll tell you what I mean by this, right? So first and the foremost thing that you need to remember and that you need to understand is the structure of a formal letter. See, there are two things, maybe a couple of things, on which you will be evaluated on your letter. First would be the proper format and structure of a letter. Second would be the language that you have used. Is it formal or informal? Third would be your scenario, the context and the coherence, right? The scenario that you've created in the letter, is it relevant? Is it proper or not? Fourth would be any mistakes that you make. So these are the four things that you will be evaluated on: structure, your scenario, your language, the language that you use, is it formal or informal, and fourth would be the the mistakes that you may or may not make in the exam. So first of all, let's get out the first thing, which is the most important part, that is the structure of a letter. So it's a very simple strategy. I'll give you a 10-step letter format for these formal letters that you can remember, and you can count and check that have I followed this step, have I followed the structure. So this is a 10-step letter format for formal letters that you have to follow in your paper, so that you are sure that you are writing the structure properly, right? So let's begin, guys. The first step in this process is, so guys, if you remember, and I think this has been the problem of all of us. See, when we were in school, we used to start straight away from by designating the letter to the principal, to the chairman, to the editor, right? But that was in school. Now this is professional life, so you have to understand the requirement of this. So in formal letters, it begins with sender's address. That means your address. So guys, a formal letter always begins with the sender's address, right? So the first thing on the top left corner would be the sender's address. That means your address, which basically should be a realistic address. Your house number, probably the street name and the locality name and the city name and what and all that should be there. So first step is sender's address. Second step of a formal letter is the date. After sender's address, then you have to put the date on which you are writing the letter. So the date on which you will be appearing in the exam, the date has to be put here. In any format would be perfectly all right. You could be using date, month, year. So you can write that, or for example 17th of October. So you can write 17th October, comma 2022, or you can just write 17/10/2022. Both the formats are perfectly fine. So second step is date, and make sure, guys, you note it down so that you don't forget it, right? So please don't forget to note down these steps. So second is date, third is receiver's address, and if it's a formal letter, then you have to begin with the designation of the addressee. That means the designation of the receiver. So start with the designation of the receiver and then followed by the address of the receiver. So addressee is basically whom the letter is addressed to, right? So then it is followed by designation of the addressee and then address of the addressee. That means receiver's address. So that is the third step of this. Fourth step is the subject line. Subject line is one line where you mention the whole the whole purpose of writing this letter in very short, in very brief. It's like a title to the letter, but it's not exactly a title. It's like a short subject line where you write regarding change of address, or regarding request for reissuing of debit card. So that short one line, which basically clarifies the whole purpose of the letter, is to be put in under that subject line. So fourth step is the subject line, which highlights the purpose of the letter. Fifth is the opening salutation. So this salutation is dear sir, dear ma'am, respected sir, respected ma'am. We used to write that, remember? So that is the opening salutation. That is the fifth step. Then followed by these three paragraphs, as I have been reiterating for the past 2 days. Introduction, body, and conclusion. The same thing is being followed here. So first paragraph that you begin with in your letter is the introduction paragraph. This is a short paragraph where you write only probably couple of sentences, writing why you are writing, the purpose of of you writing this letter, and probably introducing yourself, who you are and what you are expecting out of this. So first paragraph should be the introduction paragraph for the letter. Second is the body paragraph. Now this is the main part of your letter, where you discuss the whole scenario in detail. So in introduction paragraph, you just highlight and you just introduce yourself and the purpose of you to write this letter. So that is to be discussed in the introduction paragraph. Then in body, you lay out the whole scenario, that this is the picture, this is what I'm doing, this is what happened, this is what I'm requesting, or this is what I'm inquiring, and this is what I'm expecting out of this particular letter. So that has to be put in the body, right? And then the third paragraph, which is conclusion. In conclusion paragraph, you give a closing thank you, closing obligation, and then you give them a again you say that what you need out of this, and you request them to pay attention and do the needful, right? So that is put in the conclusion paragraph, short 1 or 2 lines again. So introduction and conclusion paragraphs are short paragraphs. Body paragraph is the biggest paragraph, where you will lay out the whole scenario. So the 8th step is the conclusion paragraph. The 9th is the complementary close. That is, yours truly, yours respectfully, or don't write yours lovingly, because yours lovingly or yours obediently, that's not formal anymore. Yours faithfully, it's also not required. So you can just write regards, or you can write thanking you, so that is enough. So you don't write yours truthfully, yours faithfully, yours respectfully, yours lovingly. So that is not written in a formal letter. What is written nowadays is either regards or a thank you, thanking you, right? So that is the complementary close. That is the 9th step. And the last step is then your name, that is the name of the sender, and designation if required. So designation, guys, only if required, when you are writing on behalf of a designation. For example, if they ask you to write a letter as a branch manager of a bank, writing a letter to a non-performing asset requesting for repayment of loan. So if you are writing on behalf of a designation, then you write the name of the designation as well, if required, an email ID if you want. So this is a 10-step letter format that you should and you must remember, so that you do not miss out on any one of them, because if you do, you will definitely lose marks in the exam, and we don't want that to happen. So guys, this is a very simple and very sorted way of remembering what needs to be done, and this will help you to remain calm and not panic and not forget anything. So straight away, sender's address, date, receiver's address, subject line, then opening salutation, introduction paragraph, body paragraph, conclusion paragraph, then the complementary close, and then you give your name and your designation. So this is a format for a formal letter now, guys. I don't know what used to happen earlier or what you may have learned over the time, but if if you want to write a properly structured and properly formatted formal letter, this is the 10-step letter format that you need to follow, right? So please note it down, please take a screenshot, please keep it with you, and I'll also provide you the PDF of this session if you want. You can join our Telegram channel, and it will be provided there. The link for our Telegram channel is given in the description of this video, right? And guys, whosoever is watching, don't forget to like the session, don't forget to share it, so that it may reach someone out there who actually needs it. So has everyone taken down this 10-step letter format? Has everyone understood? Is there any confusion? Is there any doubt, or shall we move further? Where I'll be I'll be diving into all these steps, all these details, and then we will discuss the previous year letters and some sample letters for you as well. So that we'll be discussing today. So has everyone taken down these these important steps while you are writing a formal letter? You guys, can you please acknowledge if you have or have not? So that would help me to to understand that yes, we are doing it the right way. Thank you, Rohit. If we get an example in the same format, yes, Nishit, I will give you an example. Just it's not possible to show you right here, so I'll give you an example right now after this, right? Proxima Century, you're back again. Utkarsh, good evening, dear. Got it. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Pankaj. Chalo, guys, let's move ahead now. So I think this is clear to everyone. Now, one by one, let's understand what needs to be put where and how you need to do it, and then I'll show you some sample letters. Right, Nishit? So let's look into this first. So you start with the first step, that is the contact information. That is your contact information. That means your address. So you start with your address. If required, your designation. If you are writing on behalf of a post, but See, if we are writing your designation at the bottoms, and then you don't need to put it there, right? Until and unless it's a very special designation from probably mayor of the city or probably chief minister of the state. So in that scenario, you should put designation. Otherwise, you should start with your address, and address means whatever you have to think of it, guys. If you are writing as a farmer, you can't be writing a defense colony or urban state. It has to be relevant. When you write a letter as on behalf of a farmer, obviously you put address of a village, and it should look like a proper address. So start with your address, which includes your house number, your street number, your street name if it is required, then your next line, then your city, then state, and if you want, then you can also put your email address here. So that is that is what you need to provide. And students ask me, sir, how should we write addresses? See guys, it's very simple. The way you write on the top of an envelope, the way you write address on an envelope, exactly the same, right? House number this, comma, block number this, block number D, comma, then next line come to your locality, probably let's say urban estate or defense colony or housing board or whatever you want to put it, right? So then the locality, then the city, then state, full stop. That should be your address and your email address if you want to put it. Then second step is the date. As I told you, you have to put date after your sender's address. Then comes the receiver's address, contact information of the person, the company, organization you are writing to. That means first of all we have to write. Now this is where you write to the manager or to, then in the next line you write the editor or the branch manager or the mayor or the municipality commissioner. So this is where you write to, and then you start with the title, right? So to this, then whichever company or organization that you are writing to, then the next line there should be name of that, then the address of that building, and then name of the city. So that should be included in the receiver's address. And guys, please remember, all this will be included in the word limit of your letter. So many students have this notion that probably this will not be included in the word limit. Anything you write, anything and everything you write in the dialog box will be counted in your word limit. Correct? So third is your receiver's address. Moving forward, subject line. Subject line is where you mention the purpose of the letter in a sentence, short, crisp, and it should highlight the purpose of the letter. Then greeting or salutation, respected sir, respected ma'am, or dear sir, dear ma'am, followed by a comma. Right, then comes then come the three paragraphs, which are the the heart or the backbone of the letter: introduction, body, and conclusion. So in introduction paragraph, the first paragraph of your letter should provide an introduction as to who you and why you are writing this letter. So who you are and why you are writing this letter, so that the reason for contacting the person whom you are writing to is obvious from the beginning. See guys, if you are writing a letter to an editor receives countless letters every day, and if he wants to, if he gets to read letters, all the letters every day, he'll not be able to do his job. So what he does is he just reads the subject line where he figures out that if this letter is important or not, then he prioritizes them, and then he reads whichever he wants to. So it should be clear from the subject line, and from the introduction paragraph, who you are and why you have written this letter, right? No, Nishit, we don't write from anymore. We only use to, but we don't write from anymore. So you just start with the sender's address. So in introduction paragraph, you have to, in first paragraph, you have to write and provide an introduction as to who you are and why you are. That means the purpose of you to write this letter is to be presented, so that it is clear from the beginning to the reader, why you are writing this letter. Then comes the seventh step, body of the letter. In the following paragraph, provide more information and specific details about your request or the information that you are providing. That means you need to outline the details of the scenario that you have thought of, right? And guys, I'll tell you something, how to write very good letters, but let me just finish this. And then comes the conclusion, the last paragraph of the letter. The last paragraph of your letter should reiterate the reason you are writing and thank the reader for reviewing your request. So that is the purpose of conclusion paragraph. If appropriate, it should also politely ask for a written response or for the opportunity to arrange a meeting to further discuss your request, if appropriate. right? If you think it is appropriate, you can also write a sentence saying that could you please acknowledge this letter, or could you please give me a specific time so that we can arrange a meeting to further discuss this request or whatever you want. So that can also be put into conclusion. So conclusion paragraph, one thing you have to come back to is reiterate the reason that you've written this letter, and then you thank the reader for his precious time to read your letter and your request, right, to look into your request. And if required, you can also put in a written response for opportunity to for a written response, or to opportunity to meet further for further discussing your request. So that can also be put in the conclusion paragraph. Now ninth is closing salutation. Now you can write sincerely, regards, or yours sincerely, right? So I think regards or thanking you, I think that is the best closing that I've seen in a formal letter. Regards or thanking you, I think that should do. But you can also, if you see, if you're writing intra department, you can write yours sincerely. If you're writing to your superior, your senior, you can write yours sincerely. You can write thankfully, or you can write thanking you or regards. So all that is all that is all right. But don't write yours faithfully, yours truthfully, yours lovingly, or yours the informal closing that we used to write. And last but not the least, name and designation, if required, contact details if required, right? So that needs to be put in the 10th step. Now I could have added another step to it, where we call which we call attached documents or annexure, right? But it is not applicable to all the letters, so that is only if required. So don't take it as a compulsory step. But if you have mentioned that the following documents have been attached with this letter, then I think you should definitely write another line saying attached documents or annexure, right? See, Rohit, there is no limit for anything. As I told you, the first introduction paragraph should be only 2 lines, right? See, how do you open with the through the esteemed columns of your newspaper, right, or through the columns of your esteemed newspaper, I wish to highlight the issue of waterlogging in our area, and I am a concerned citizen of this of the above mentioned, or of the mentioned area, and we have been facing a lot of trouble due to this issue. So only 2 lines are more than enough, Rohit, in introduction paragraph, introducing who you are and your purpose of writing the letter. Got it, Rohit? So these are the 10 steps that you need to follow every time when you're writing a formal letter. So guys, now as I told you, I would be telling you the best way to write a formal letter. See guys, when you are creating a scenario, now after understanding what steps you need to follow in a letter, in a formal letter, the rest where what you need to worry about is the scenario that you are going to prepare for, the scenario that you are going to create. So see, the best way to create a real letter is by really thinking that or really putting yourself into the shoes of the situation. For example, if they ask you to write a letter as a write a letter to write a letter to someone to request him to be the chief guest of a chief guest of a blood donation camp which was organized by your NGO. So see, look at this scenario, guys. So you are supposed to write as a letter to a prominent personality requesting him to be a to be the chair to be the chief guest of a function of a blood donation camp which was organized by your NGO, right? So you would be writing as a resources manager to some politician, some mayor, some prominent personality, right? But see, the more realistic the scenario would be, the better your letter is going to be, right? Certain things you can remember, but the scenario has to be created right there on the spot. So to do that, put yourself into the shoes of the shoes of the scenario, of the person who is being considered in the scenario. So you would be writing a letter as a resources manager. Think of an address of your NGO. So you'll be writing on behalf of your NGO, not on behalf of yourself, right? So you start with the NGO's address, then date, then receiver's address. That is the probably the mayor or the chief minister or whomsoever you are writing to. Then coming about regarding invitation for our function for this blah 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 function organized by this organization. That would be subject line. Then you write in your introduction, see, this letter is written to bring into your kind notice to invite you to do this and this and this. So see, the more realistic the scenario you create, the better it is going to be. So realistic means, what I mean by realistic is you need to understand that okay, this you have to consider that it's really a function conducted by an NGO. So you ask yourself, if you were actually working in an NGO and you were actually realistically, if you were inviting chief minister or a mayor or deputy commissioner of the city to act as a chairperson or to act as a chief guest of of a function, so how would you present it in a formal language? So you would be thinking on those straight lines now. So you would be thinking that okay, I have to think of a venue first, then I have to think of the date, then time, then the outlay of the program, then what needs to be done by the chief guest, what would be his participation and what is the purpose of this function, then the highlights of the function need to be mentioned, and then you request him, right? So the point is basically, see, if you put yourself into the shoes of the situation, of the person who is in the situation, I think that is the best way to write these letters. I'll give you another scenario, guys. You have to write a simple scenario. You have to write a letter to the bank to request reissuing of your debit card. So see, 90% of the students are going to write the same thing, that they lost their they lost their debit card somewhere, or they forgot it somewhere in a shop, or in a probably supermarket, or probably the wallet was stolen, and that is why they are requesting the bank to reissue their debit card. So more than 90% would write the same scenario. But if you want to stand out, guys, if you want to write if you want to write an excellent scenario, now you'll have to be realistic about it. So when do we write to the bank to reissue a new debit card? When you really need it, right? So forgetting it or losing it, or when somebody stole it, it would require FIR and all that. So why not a different scenario, something like your debit card got expired recently and you now need a new debit card and blah blah blah. So you create a scenario that you are in a college or you are working professional, and this your previous debit card attached to this account number was valid from this to this date, and you had previously requested the bank to reissue the debit card, but it was not done in due time. So now you're requesting the branch manager to look into this issue personally, and then you are requesting for some help in your in this process. So the more realistic scenario you are going to create, the better it is going to look, the more essential things are going to be present in your letter. So see, what are the biggest problems that I have observed in letters? Students forget the basics, the basic requirement of a letter. That if you are writing to a bank, and if you do not even mention your account number, do you think the bank is going to search all the database for a person named Ankit Jain or Surbi Mathur or Rakesh Thakur? So they'll not do that. So unless you provide them specific details of your account number, of your branch, and your debit card, so that has to be created, the scenario has to be created by you. So this is what I wanted to highlight to all of you guys. When you are writing a letter, please think as if you are the real person in the scenario. And if you are actually writing, ask yourself, if you were actually writing a letter to the branch manager or to the editor or to the deputy commissioner or mayor of the city, of that state or of that city, whatever it is, now what would you write? So if you ask yourself that as if I'm really writing a letter, that would give you the right way, the neatness, the conciseness to write a letter, and all the requirements. So there are certain requirements to every scenario that you need to think of, right? You need to prepare before you start writing the letter, and that we will be discussing now, right guys? So I think you've got the 10-step format. Now let's understand what are the do's and don'ts of your letter writing, and then we will be looking at some sample letters. So first of all, the biggest no-no in a formal letter is, do not use slang, jargon, do not use colloquialisms or abusive language in a formal letter, right? So that is this will lead to deduction of marks straight away. So do not use any informal word or informal language or abusive language. See, when you are writing a formal letter, you don't know who is going to read your letter, right? And that is why this is very important, that you do not use any informal word or jargon or slang or any abusive language. What you need is use formal language, use of formal language. Second, guys, this is important, please remember this, do not use shortened verb forms, that is contractions. For example, see what we are in the habit of doing is, if I'm writing I will be, so what we do is I apostrophe ll, right? Contracted form of verb. So don't do that in a formal letter. For example, they are is, we write they are as like this, we write isn't like this, we write can't like that, right? So do not use shortened form of verbs in a letter, use the full verb forms instead. Example, they are is not to be written like this, they are to be written like that, right? Isn't should be written this way, is it should be written is not, right? Cannot should not be written in can't, it should be written in proper cannot. So use extended forms, do not use contractions. Third, do not use common vocabulary such as I'll give you some examples. For example, I have got a letter, a lot has been written, or a lot needs to be done, it looks nice, the other thing. So these are informal or common vocabulary words, use formal words. So instead of using I have got, make more formal vocabulary choices. For example, instead of I've got, you could use I have found, or I have received, or I have I have acknowledged, or I have, whatever you want to use formal words. Instead of writing a lot, use a great deal. Instead of using nice, use attractive or advantageous, right? Or for the other thing, you write the other issue, or the other problem, or the other request, or the other idea, topic, notion that I wanted to do, that that is required to be discussed is this. So use formal words, basically. Do not use informal words. Next, do not use conversational opening phrases such as, well, you see, yes, let's move on. Leave out conversational phrases, use appropriate connectors and introductory phrases. That is very important. See, you cannot open your letter, well, you see, it is time the local newspaper started focusing on actually the issues faced by the public. This is not a request that you write to the editor, right? Well, it is time to look into this issue. So don't use conversational openings like, hey, yes, no. You're not answering, or you're not actually talking to a person through a letter, you are writing information. So it's about sending a message or receiving a message. Got it, everyone? So these are some important tips. So to sum up, do not use informal language, do not use contracted form of verbs, do not use common vocabulary words, and do not use conversational opening phrases, right? Then do not write I think, especially not at the beginning of a sentence. See, people think and people believe that letters are basically written from one person, and the person who will be reading it would understand whatever I'm trying to convey. That is not true. So instead of writing I think, especially at the beginning of sentence, do not write I think or I believe that global warming will do this or will do that. So I think this will be a problem, I think, or I believe I'll not be able to submit my thesis on that and the so and so date. So instead of using I think and I believe, just remove it and use it is believed, or it is understood, or it is thought. So see, that will make your letter look more formal, right? Next, guys, this is a very important point. Do not use personal pronouns, and examples of personal pronouns are I, you, we, they, she, he. So don't use personal pronouns, because unless specifically required, unless you are for example, introducing yourself, obviously then you will write I, comma, Rohit Sharma, comma, resident of Borivali, Mumbai. I'm requesting to the BCCI or cricket board to to help me in this situation. I'm just thinking of something. So instead of, unless you're writing that, do not use personal pronouns. That is, do not write we think that you should be. So we think that you should be able to complete, or be non-personal. That is the whole point. So it should be possible for everyone to complete. So instead of writing we think, you should be able to complete the necessary documents, or complete the whole requirement in the given stipulated time. So instead of writing we think, should be, it's better to write formal language. It should be possible for everyone to complete this in the stipulated time. So you're saying the same thing, but you're being formal, right? So see, guys, being formal, using formal language, what it entails is, is basically, whosoever reads the newspaper, it should look relevant to everyone, right? So that is the purpose of a letter. So the point is, you need to be formal in your words. And guys, the best way if you ask me, sir, what is the best way to remove informal language? Now, if you ask me, the best way is to use passive sentences, right? Instead of using active sentences, see, in active sentences, we tend to use subjects and pronouns and informal words. It's better to use passive sentences in a letter. That is the best way to write a formal letter. For example, instead of writing, I'm requesting you to look into this matter as soon as possible, right? So see, I am requesting you. I've used two personal pronouns here, I and you. Instead, if I used in passive sentence, so instead of using I'm requesting you to look into this matter, so it's better to write, it is requested, it is requested for the authorities, or it is requested to the authorities to look into this matter as soon as possible. So I think all of you will agree, see, I request you to look into this matter as soon as possible. And the second is, it is requested to the authorities to look into this matter as soon as possible. Which sentence sounded formal? Obviously, the second sentence sounded formal, right? So the best way to make your letter formal is to use passive sentences as many as possible, right? So the best way to do that is, for example, if I'm writing, if I have to write that, I'm requesting you to reissue my debit card on the new address that is provided below. So I am requesting you, that sounds very informal, right? Instead, use passive sentences. It is requested you to deliver, or it is requested to the bank, not you personally, because the bank manager is not going to come and deliver your debit card. So instead of writing, so it is requested to the bank to take the necessary action and kindly provide and kindly get the new debit card reissued and delivered to the new address provided below, right? So that is what you need to understand. You need to choose your words very, very carefully, and you have to be very formal. And the best way to be formal in a formal letter is to use passive sentences. Got it? Then next, do not use sweeping generalizations at or in your letters. Sweeping generalizations, like for example, people living in our neighborhood are not very friendly, or people living in our area are not are not bothered about this issue. So these are sweeping generalizations. Don't use that in a letter. That is a very bad way to write a letter. State main ideas clearly and concisely in your own words in topic sentences. That is the point. And last but not the least, you need to understand that we have to make 3 paragraphs in a letter. So do not use bullet point or lists unless it is in a report. So in report we can use bullet points or lists, but in a letter we do not use bullet points or numbers or titles and subtitles. Got it? Use complete sentences and link these into logical paragraphs. So that is the that is the understanding of a formal letter. We do not change the structure of a letter. We keep it in paragraphs and we discuss everything in paragraphs unless it is required, like a report. Got it? So these were some certain important do's and don'ts of your formal letter, and I hope this will sit well with you. Now let me show you the previous year letters that were asked in the papers, and with sample solutions as well, so that you get to understand what is required of you in the exam, right? So first of all, let's start with the previous year 2021 letter. So there was no word limit. So the surprising part was there was no word limit that was given in the year 2021, and the students had to decide on their own, how much they want to write in that letter. And instead of 1 or 2, there were 3 choices that were given this year. The first was, write a letter to your block officer regarding pitiful situation of local dispensary in your area. That was a complaint letter, right? Second was, write a letter to the bank for changing the address for credit card delivery. So this is a request letter. And third is, write a letter to your local newspaper for development of sports infrastructure in the country for future Olympians, right? And I remember, if I remember correctly, this was the time when Olympics were going on, and I think Neeraj Chopra had recently won a gold medal for India. So and after a few weeks, this exam was conducted. So in that exam, this was one of the topics that was given. Write a letter to your local newspaper for development of sports infrastructure in the country for future Olympians. So this is a this is a sensitization letter where you ask the editor to look into the matter. So guys, what I want you to focus now is in the sample solution so that you get to understand in which letter what can I use as an opening and as a closing. So if you remember the opening and closing of these letters, I think it becomes very easy for you to lay out and to draft this letter within 15 to 20 minutes, right? You'll be able to complete it in one go. So we will be discussing a sample solution to all the three letters. So let's go, guys. First of all, the letter was, write a letter to your block officer regarding a pitiful situation of local dispensary in your area. So you start with your address that start like this: 14, that is your house number, comma, that is Watkins Lane, comma, then city, Howrah, then state, Kolkata. Sorry, Howrah is the area, and then city, Kolkata, and then state, West Bengal. And then see, this is not necessary, guys. If you want, you can put the pin code. If you don't want, then you can also omit West Bengal. Up till West Bengal is perfectly all right, right? But you do remember that after every change you have to use a comma. See, this will lead to deduction of marks, so make sure that you do not miss out on punctuation. So comma after every change, and then full stop after the last word. Then date 5th June 2020, then receiver's title, and then receiver's address. The district health officer, you're writing to a block officer, right? So district health officer, comma, Howrah Municipal Corporation, comma, Howrah Maidan, comma, Kolkata, West Bengal. So that is the receiver's address. Then subject line, the insanitary conditions of my locality, or the insanitary conditions of the local dispensary. But he has given a broader picture, the insanitary conditions of my locality or of the local dispensary. So then start with the letter, dear sir or dear ma'am, comma, this is to attract your attention. So guys, this is what you need to remember. Openings and closing, this will help you. This is to attract your attention to the extremely unhygienic and insanitary conditions prevailing in our local dispensary, in our area, whatever you want to write. So this is how you can open your letter. Utkarsh, yes, I will provide you the PDF on our Telegram group. The link for our Telegram group is given in the description of the videos. You can join that and you will find the PDF there by, it will be uploaded by tomorrow. So this is to attract your attention to the extremely unhygienic and insanitary conditions prevailing in our local dispensary. Our local dispensary, which is situated near the old bridge, is getting dirty day by day. So these are the two sentences which you wrote in your opening paragraph. So this is to attract your attention to this, and this local dispensary is situated near this, and it is getting dirty day by day. Then comes the body paragraph. So he has made two paragraphs. Guys, you can make more than one paragraph if you want. If you think the body paragraph is going to be huge, you can make two paragraphs in the body as well. So that is perfectly all right. So he has made two paragraphs in the body. Let's read them. The premises of the dispensary have become a breeding ground of mosquitoes. The drains which have been dug and have been left like that are now overflowing. They have been left open, are now overflowing with filth and wastewater from the houses of the locality. Then even the carcasses of stray animals are lying beside the roads for many days and have started rotting. Numerous calls to the municipality offices have been made, but all go unattended. The garbage lies rotting and smelling in the dumpsters for weeks because the municipal garbage trucks fail to turn up. This complete negligence of the authorities has made our locality a potential health hazard. So that is the issue that he wanted to highlight. So guys, did you notice that there was no active sentence in this, right? And that is the best way to to make your letter formal. So this is what I was telling you, this is what I was talking about. When you write a letter, you should use formal words, formal sentences, and to make your sentences formal, use passive sentences. The best way to do that, right? So see, if you observe something, even in the first paragraph, this is to attract your attention to extremely high conditions. See, instead of writing, I want to attract your attention to the extremely high conditions of our locality or of our local dispensary, this is to attract our local dispensary, which is situated, this is getting dirty day by day, right? So use passive sentences to make your letter formal. The premises of the dispensary have become a breeding ground for the mosquitoes. The drains which have been dug and left open are now overflowing with filth and wastewater from the houses of the locality. Even the carcasses of the stray animals are lying beside the road for many days and have started rotting. Now see, instead of writing, we have made numerous calls to the municipality office, he has written, Numerous calls to the municipality offices have been made, but all go unattended. See, instead of writing we have seen garbage lying rotting. See, he's written passive. The garbage lies rotting and smelling in the dumpsters for weeks because the municipal garbage trucks failed to turn up. This complete negligence of the authorities has made our locality a potential health hazard. So this was the body. This is the scenario that you have to create, right? You have to sit down there, think of it and write it. Then you give the closing paragraph. You are requested to look into the matter immediately. A visit to our locality will help you in assessing the situation better or correctly. I hope you take the necessary actions soon. Sincerely, Navita Singh. So this is what you call a formal letter, right? Nothing personal has been written here. Nothing, nothing rude or vulgar has been written here. Even if it is a complaint letter, but it has been presented with, with dignity and with utmost care, so that anyone who reads it gets the point and gets the, the dire situation that they are stuck in, right? So this is what you need to this is what you need to do in your paper, right? Let's look at the next letter. The second was write a letter to change the address for credit card delivery. So again, start with the sender's address, date, then receiver's address, the bank manager, SBI branch, Howrah Maidan, Kolkata, West Bengal. Receiver's address, then subject address change request letter for credit card. Address change request letter for credit card. Short, simple, crisp, which highlights the whole point. Then, respected sir, let's look at the scenario that has been created. Hope you're doing well. This letter has been written to request. See, this is what I want you to remember. Hope you're doing well. This letter has been written to request for an address change in my profile at the bank. Last date, you have to mention last Sunday, last Monday, I opened a new account at the bank or last year and requested the ATM card to be mailed to my address. So this is the opening paragraph. Hope you're doing well. This letter has been written to request for an address change in my profile at the bank. Last, you can mention date or day. I opened a new account at the bank and requested the ATM card to be mailed to my address. Now coming to the body paragraph, what is the scenario? However, we have to shift to a different place urgently due to some personal reasons. We will be done with this whole shifting thing soon, and I do not really know the new house owners. I request you to change the address as soon as possible so the ATM card is not mailed on the previous address, or else it would be really inconvenient for me as the distance between both houses is quite quite long. My new address has been provided below. Then you give a closing statement. Kindly feel free to contact me for any further query on details provided below. Regards, Rohit Mathur, mobile number and email, that is this, right? So again, see, it was a bit informal, but it could have been a bit more formal. So instead of using in second paragraph, we will be done with this whole shifting thing. This is wrong. This is informal. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. We don't do that. Instead of writing this, you should have written the shifting will be done soon, or the shifting will be over soon, and the new house owners are unknown. So it is a request to the bank to change the address as soon as possible, so the ATM card does not get mailed on the previous address or the old address, or else it would make it really inconvenient, or it would be really inconvenient it would be really inconvenient to receive the card, as the distance between the two houses is quite long, right? So that could have been a better opening or better statement for these, right? So I'm also giving you the improvement what could have been done, but you need to understand the 10-step format. Sender's address, receiver's address, sender's address, date, then receiver's address, then fourth is subject, fifth is opening salutation, sixth is opening paragraph, seventh is body, eighth is closing paragraph, ninth is closing salutation, and last details, right? So this is what you need to do when you are writing a formal letter in your paper. Let's look at the third scenario. Write a letter to your local newspaper for development of sports infrastructure in the country for future Olympians. So see, if you're writing to a local newspaper and if you're writing for the development of sports infrastructure in the country, so you have to write in a very generalized sense, right? So this is what you do in such a letter. So you start with the sender's address, your address, 120 Mahir Vihar, New Delhi, dated 8 September 2020, then receiver's address, the editor, Hindustan Times, New Delhi. Subject, absence of playground in our locality. See, in your local newspaper, you can only talk about, your locality, and then you can relate it to the whole country. So then you start the letter dear editor or dear sir. Then you start with the introduction paragraph, and this is how you write a letter to an editor. I am Vikas, a resident of Mayur Vihar. This is how you introduce yourself. I am Vikas, a resident of Mayur Vihar. Then I'm writing to you in order to bring the attention of the concerned authorities. So I'm writing to you in order to bring the attention of the concerned authorities towards the absence of the playground and sports facilities in our locality. That is the introduction of the letter. Then what could be written in the body of such a letter? Now these are the necessary activities for all age people in current times. The increase in pollution, contracting open space due to industrialization and increase in traffic, etc., have contributed to the decline of the environment and human health. The absence of open spaces in the residential areas and townships has further provoked this issue. The lack of playgrounds and open spaces has deprived the joy of children playing outdoor games. So it has affected their physical growth and development. As reiterated by specialists and doctors, how important is the presence of such facilities and impacts they will have on the budding sports person in our country. Having such infrastructure will boost the career of upcoming sports stars and will pave the way for upcoming Olympians of the country. So this was the whole scenario that was created. Then he gives the conclusion: through the columns of your reputed newspaper, I request the concerned authorities to look into this problem so that they will provide a playground and sports facilities in our locality. Thanking you, comma, yours sincerely, Vikas. So these were the three topics that were thrown at the aspirants in the year 2021. Now, what can you expect in 2022? Probably writing a letter to a bank, a municipality editor, probably some prominent person in some designation. So that could be asked to you in different scenarios. So the more you practice, the better it is going to be for your understanding of this, right? So guys, is everything clear up till now? Does anyone have any doubt? If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask them, guys. Otherwise we will move on to the other sample letters that were asked to the students in the for the previous year papers. So I'll show that to you, and then probably we'll see what we can learn from this. Everything is clear to everyone? All right, that's good. Yes, guys, is there anything that you wish to ask? Please take the slide back. Yes, Saurabh. Yes, of course. Guys, you can also take screenshots if you want. Otherwise, I will provide you the PDF of this whole session in our Telegram group, right? And the link for our Telegram group is given in the description of the video. Right? Shall we move ahead then? I don't see any questions, any doubts here. All right. Thank you, dear. All right, guys. So next, let's move ahead. In the year 2020. So this was the only only scenario that was given in 2020. Up till 2020 there used to be only one scenario, but after 2020 and 2021 they gave three different scenarios with one to choose from. So in 2020, write a letter to avail a bank loan for construction of your concrete home in 170 words. So you are writing a letter to avail a bank loan for construction of your concrete home in 170 words. So see, that makes it very ambiguous type of situation, and people and students get stuck. What should I write in such a bank loan for construction of a concrete home? So see, everything is important. Why did they mention concrete home? Because it's a pakka house. So that means the person would be living in a kacha house. Then you can create a scenario that the person would be deprived, marginalized, and then you can create a better scenario. So that's how you start. House number this, Pragati Path, Charigaon, Joharat, Assam. So that's how you open the letter. Then date, 7th April 2020, then followed by receiver's address, the branch manager, Assam Gramin Vikas Bank, Joharat branch, Joharat, Assam. Right. So see, there you're writing. If you're writing as a farmer, then you have to be very, very relevant. That has to be relevant to your letter. Then subject, regarding request for subsidy on housing loan, interest rate under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So look at the scenario that has been created here. The person has thought that he will be taking a loan from the bank, and then he's asking to request for subsidy on housing loan interest rate under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So what a great way to present his scenario. Then respected sir, respected ma'am. Now what could be the scenario? With due respect, I would like to inform you that I am a customer of your bank and owner of the account number 654321, whatever you want to make it. And I'm writing this letter to request for housing loan under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So this is the introduction paragraph, very formal, to the point. Then comes the body paragraph. I am a worker at Johar Tea Factory and I'm interested in availing housing loan under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana through your bank. I'm eligible for benefits under EWS category considering my annual income. I have attached my income certificate and EWS category certificate issued by District Administration in Annexure 1. I want to avail housing loan under PMAY amounting 4 lakh rupees. I'm facing hardship in daily life due to dilapidated condition of my kacha house. The loan will be utilized to replace the present kacha house with a new pakka house. A better house will add value to the living standards of my family. A safe and secure house will also help my children to study properly and secure a better future. So this is the scenario. Now I hereby request you to grant me the loan at the stipulated subsidized interest rate as per the benefits available for EWS category under PMAY. As an esteemed customer of your bank, I'm looking forward to your prompt action for processing my request for loan. The matter is for your kind perusal. Now what he could have added here is, see, he has mentioned his account number, he has mentioned the amount. What he could have asked for is, he could have asked the relevant documents that are required for the further process, or he could have asked that the premium that needs to be paid by him, or the EMIs he is going to undertake for the 4 lakh rupee loan that he is availing from the bank. Right, then closing statement, thanking you, name, mobile number, email ID. Then you can see if you are providing anything, list of documents that are enclosed in the letter or enclosed with the letter. So list of enclosures or annexure 1, this can be put here. Income certificate and EWS certificate of Mr. This, and copy of attested Aadhaar card validating details. So that can also be put after the closing of the letter. Got it? So this was the letter that was given in the year 2020. So let's move ahead, guys. Now I'll show you the letter that was given in the year 2019. So in the 2019, the word limit was only 150 words, and the letter was, write a letter in about 150 words on the topic given below. The topic was, as a marginal farmer, write a letter to the LIC officer, insurance officer, requesting to enroll for pension scheme under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Mandhan Yojana, if I'm not wrong, right? So PMKMY, Krishi Mandhan, yes, Kisan Mandhan, no, Krishi Kisan Mandhan Yojana. Right, so plot number 22, Kelpuram, Vazianagaram district, Andhra Pradesh. Sender's address, then date, then receiver's address, the assistant manager, life insurance corporation, then city and then state. Subject, enrollment for pension scheme under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Mandhan Yojana. Right, so that is the subject. Then opening, respected sir, dear sir, respected ma'am, so this is another way of writing this letter, guys. This is your name, right? Rohit, Anjana, Nitika, whatever you want. Comma, your name, then closing comma. A marginal farmer residing in Kelpuram village of Vizianagaram district, or I am, so it should be, I am a marginal farmer residing in Kelpuram village of this district. This letter has been written in order to enroll for the pension scheme under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Mandhan Yojana. Now this is the body. As a marginal farmer aged 40 with agricultural land of 2 acres, I cultivate paddy and other crops which provide sufficient income for my living along with a little savings. Recently I came to know about the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Mandhan Yojana pension scheme through the newspaper, and it would be beneficial to join to secure my old age. I have attached my identity and bank details with this letter. Then the conclusion paragraph, it would be of great help for me and my family if you enroll me in this pension scheme. Hope you consider my request and enroll me into the scheme. Thanking you, your name and your phone number if required. Right, so this was a short letter because the limit was 150 words, and this is what can be written for enrollment under pension scheme. Right, so that was the letter in 2019. Let's go back to 2018, guys. In 2018, the title that was given, write a letter in about 150 words on the topic given below. And the title was, a farmer writes a letter to the zonal officer requesting damage claim of his crops under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Right, so he's requesting, so this is a, This is a claim letter. So I wanted you to understand this as well so that you are prepared. So as a farmer, you are writing to the zonal officer requesting damage claim of your crops under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So house number 15, Pragati Path, Charigaon, Jorat, Assam. Date, then branch manager, Assam Gramin Vikas Bank, Jorat branch, Gharali, Jorat, Assam this. Then subject regarding claim of damage for crops under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Then what should be the content of the letter? Respected sir, respected ma'am, with due respect, I would like to inform you that I am a farmer and own 1 acre of paddy cultivation in Bahuna in Charigaon, Taluka of Dojora district. During the first fortnight of the present month, a series of hailstorm events brought damage to my paddy crops. Now, this was the opening paragraph. I enrolled for crop insurance policy under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and now want to avail the claim of damage for crops under the same. My crop insurance policy document number is this. I hereby request you to make arrangement for estimation of damage in my paddy field and to proceed for my payment of claim against the estimated damage subsequently. A prompt action at your end will help me to recover the cost of crop damages through PMFBY at the earliest. See, and then the closing paragraph. As a farmer, I am facing financial distress due to the recent crop damages, and an early disbursement of claim will help me to prepare for the upcoming crop season. The matter is for your kind perusal. Thanking you, your name, email ID. I don't think farmers would require email IDs, but depends on the situation. Got it, everyone? So this was the scenario, and this was the letter that was given in the year 2018. Now I would also love to discuss with you the previous year paper for 2017. In the year 2017, the letter was given, and this was: write a letter as a branch manager of a bank to an NPA, non-performing asset, asking for loan repayment, invoking contractual obligations. That means you are a branch manager. Now I wanted you to understand how you have to write a letter as a from a post of designation if you are writing. So write a letter as a branch manager of a bank to an NPA, non-performing asset, asking for loan repayment, invoking contractual obligations. So again, now this time the address is a bit different. You start with your designation. So you are the sender, you are the branch manager. So you start with this: the branch manager, State Bank of India, Raipur Road, near Ordnance Factory Campus, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Right. Then you followed by date. Right. Then receiver's address. Then to Mr. Yadav, 823 Jagran Colony, Thewa Maldevta Road, Raipur Village, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Then you start with the subject: repayment of loan, failing which collateral will be maybe liquidated or something, right? So collateral will be liquidated. So that would be a better word, not collected. Then, dear Mr. Yadav, this is a follow-up to previous notices provided to you by the bank to bring to your attention that the installment on your loan of rupees 12.5 lakh rupees has been due for the past 178 days. So this is how, guys, have you received a letter from a bank? If you have, then you must remember the formal language that is written in that letter. So this is the type of formal language that you have to provide when you're writing on behalf of a manager, right? Usually there are performers, but if there are certain letters, this is how you write. So this is a follow-up to the previous notices provided to you by the bank to bring to your attention that the installment on your loan has been due for the past 178 days. You don't write hope you're doing well and this and that, blah, 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 because this is a warning letter. Now comes the body. Please note that as per RBI regulations, overdue of payment by 180 days leads to the classification of a loan as non-performing asset, which empowers the bank to initiate its legal debt collection procedure and retrieve the amount due by you alongside full legal costs for the same. The recovery process will include collection of the collateral put up by you while applying for the loan. Now, then this was the body. Then conclusion: it is strongly in your interest to repay the installment due in the next 2 days to avoid such a scenario and the initiation of legal proceedings. One more sentence could have been written: if if needed, you can visit the branch or the bank to discuss the situation with the concerned person, which would help you and the bank in this collaboration. So that could have been added in this line. Yours sincerely, Sandeep Singh. Then you could have written your designation, the branch manager, and mobile number. So this was the letter that was given in the year 2017. Got it, everyone? So guys, these were the sample letters for the past 5-6 years that I wanted to discuss with you, so that you get to understand, how to write a formal letter, the way to present a scenario, and what is expected of you. So that was it for letter writing. And if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, you can ask me anything now, guys, regarding letter writing. Tomorrow we will cover report writing, same time 5 p.m. But before we finish off, I would like to inform you about the one-time sale. We are offering flat 48% off on all our combo courses for RBI, NABARD, SEBI and PFRD as well. And the coupon code is capital one time, and this sale is valid only for the next 2 days, 29th September to 30th September. So if you're preparing for any of these exams or thinking of preparing for any of these exams, RBI, NABARD, SEBI or PFRDA, now it is the best time, and this is a great opportunity to start the same, right? So if you want to join us, you can join us, and you can avail yourself of this opportunity. So guys, any doubts, any queries, please feel free to ask. You can also call us on this number during the office hours, that is 8146207241, or you can drop us an email at hello@edutab.co.in. And many links for our courses have also been provided in the link of this video. You can also visit those courses from the description of the video. Yes guys, anything you wish to ask, anything you wish to discuss, or any doubt or any query that you may have. See, in our courses we have provided you all the sample material, the previous year letters, along with that a lot of sample letters and practice practice interface, so that you get you get to stimulate yourself, and the simulation of the paper is very, very important, right? So that is provided in the course along with the videos, so that you can learn and you can practice and analyze your skills. So anything else you wish to discuss, guys, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, let's wrap up the session for today. I'll see you again tomorrow 5 p.m. with the session on report writing, and day after tomorrow we will be discussing précis writing, which is again a very important chunk of this paper, very important section of this paper, and that will be the preparation part we will be looking at through these sessions. Eligibility criteria for which exam, Saurabh? I will tell you, Saurabh, the eligibility criteria, but you need to specify for which exam are you asking. NABARD, RBI? Because NABARD for all, see, every paper has every exam has different eligibility criteria. You must have graduation, you must have a certain percentage of marks in your graduation, right? You there are certain things that have been provided. So Saurabh, if you want, say, I'll not answer individual questions during a session, Saurabh, I'm sorry, but what I can do for you is, give me 1 second. What I can do for you is, I can take out I'll show you something else, right? uh, Give it a second, guys. Okay, let me just give me a second, guys. I'll just try to do that. I think I just downloaded no, it's not here. Okay, I'll just download the notification for you right now. Correct. So this is notification, Saurabh, and there is a lot of eligibility criteria that comes into play, right? Vacancies are there, then this is the eligibility criteria that they have mentioned, right? So this is a long list, guidelines with all that, and guidelines with that. So you can go through this, and this will give you a great idea of what needs to be done here. Correct, Saurabh. Or you can just drop us an email, Saurabh, on this address, hello@edutab.co.in, and I think we will be able to help you out in this, right? Great. Chalo guys. So I wish you all the very best for your journey ahead. And I wish you success in your endeavors in life. So keep on working hard, keep on working in the right direction, and I'm sure you will come out with flying colors. So having said that, I'll take your leave for today. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place, 5 p.m. with another session on report writing. Till then, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and I wish happy learning to all of you guys.